these two related?
You both learn something from it.
You both learn something from it? Okay.
You read your paper after it's done. So both read it.
Okay.
You have to read and writing and write and reading.
Okay.
They both use words.
They both use words, okay.
And you don't write something in order to read it.
Good, okay.
You both didn't just you read the writing.
Good. Anything else, Isabel? Oh, you're just trying to give me that? Yes, there are many ways that these are related, and the one that I heard the most was you have to know how to read to write, know how to write to read, or I guess you have to write and able to be able to read something. And to read something, someone had to have written it. So yes, think about, actually real quick, I just want to go on myths. What do we remember about our section on myths when it comes to reading them?
It's a non-fiction story. I mean, a fiction story.
It's a fictitious story? Okay. What else? Chanel.
Something like that.
Something made up? Or a fantasy kind of? Okay. Matt? Teaches a lesson. What else can it do as far as teaching us something?
Oh, well, I was going to do something else.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
They're usually made like on later dates.
Okay, so they're usually old, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. You just say old. Passed down from generation to generation.
They were made for a reason.
Such as?
Like almost like you said.
Okay, such as. Another one. What else could it do? Think about the first story we read. Make you scared? Okay.
They explain things that we can't.
Okay, explain.
Like thunder, like
Yes. That's what I was looking for. Natural phenomenon. So teaches a lesson, explains natural phenomenon. They're old, passed from generation to generation. They can be a fantasy, kind of fictitious story, not necessarily true. What's something else? What do they often contain? Johnny.
Like another word for fake information.
Oh, I think you're trying to go where I want you to go, but I'm not. Go ahead, Rebelio.
Gods.
Okay. Gods or lords. So what is that? That's what I'm actually looking for. What would that be?
Beliefs.
No, just the gods, lords, let's say animals, hybrids. What are all those in the category of? Creature? Nature?
Their religion.
Okay. Non-human character. As far as our characters go, these are non-human. So when I'm gonna go back to the say things that they really don't mean, or what you were trying to say, Johnny. What do we call that? Does anybody remember that? What we call that kind of language? Like I'm so mad, my head's spinning.
sarcasm,
Figurative language, yes. So we're gonna put this all together. I promise. Figurative language. So that's a big thing that myths often contain. Now let's shift our focus and think about graphic organizers. Why do we use graphic organizers when it comes to reading? Think about our myths. Why do we use graphic organizers? Okay, so for predictions, because we know if there's going to be a problem, solution, resolution. Yeah, we can predict that we're going to know that we're going to read about something about that matter. Absolutely. What, Michael?
You can use it almost as like a summary or a way to shorten down a story to make it more understandable.
Yes, summary. So hold on, I'm gonna go off of that. I want to erase this because I don't want you to get confused. This figurative language. I'm gonna put it over here with this. So, this is graphic organizing. All right, so Michael, going back to what you just said. You said it can be like a summary and make you understand.
Yeah, like shorten it down so it's more comprehensive.
Summary was one thing I wanted you to get, so good. When you say understand, that's another thing I'm looking for. What do you mean by understand? What will the graphic organizer help us do as far as understand a myth?
Maybe help you understand like lesson better.
Okay, there's a big word that I'm, not a big word, but a key word that I'm looking for. Starts with an I, I'll give you that. When we use graphic organizing to find out the lesson or what it's trying to explain. Not quite. When someone, think of a political or like a world leader. A Japanese world leader comes over and meets with our president. What do they usually have with them?
Information.
Okay. Someone to, another word for decode, maybe? Translate, that's the word that they are, but what are they doing in language? They're
Interaction.
close. Interpret, yes. Thank you. I know it was a hard one, interpret, but you got it. Job as well. All right, help us interpret what we just read, or decode or analyze. So, my point being, how is all of this going to help us in our writing process? Why would someone want to know all this using their reading skills to help them with their writing process? Well, actually, no, one more. Let's do one more. There's one more big one I need right here. When we're doing the summary, what are we doing our unit this week? I don't want to give the answer away. Our unit this week, we would use a graphic organizer to tell us what? We worked on it on Monday. I had you guys do these on the graphic organizer after the story. What did that do?
Oh, what did it do?
Yeah, I mean, what skill was it working on as far as?
Summary.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, but there's a certain
Oh, sequencing?
sequence. Yes. Sequence. Okay, that's okay. Now we can transition. Now, why would all this be important to our writing? Think about our argumentative writing. Why would graphic organizer be used in this? Go ahead.
So like for sequence, so when you're writing, everything's not like so it's like flowing. It's not like well, it's something and then it just randomly goes to another thing.
Yes. Sequence and graphic organizer we can use in our writing to have organization. Good job. And not just random information here and there. What was the other way you put it? I'm sorry, say it again.
Well, like if you have one piece of information and then you just randomly go to the next.
Yeah, okay. So keeping it in order. Yes. So what else? How else can a graphic organizer help us with our writing process? Matthew. So okay, yes. Make it easier to interpret. If I told you you were going to write a myth for me, which you are, why would using a graphic organizer when reading a myth, why would we want to? We find out this information usually from using a graphic organizer after reading a myth. But why is all this stuff going to be important with writing a myth?
So we know how the structure.
Okay, structure. What was that? Boundary? What do you mean by that?
Well, I was thinking of it kind of like the base to all this kind of structure.
You're thinking in the right direction. So when we find out these things from reading a myth, and we use our graphic organizers in order to find out what comes in or what makes up a myth or what the myth's trying to teach us, we know how to properly write a myth. We know what characters we might need. We know what setting we might need. We know that we might have a lesson that we want to teach. We know that